Hashem, today's Tafsir is Sanhedrin Lamites, Sanhedrin 39. And we're going to start on the top of Lamites, Amid Aleph 39a. 3 lines from the top. Today's daf is dedicated for Shmira for the Chayalim, Hatzalah for the Shvuyim, and Yeshua for Am Yisrael. Gemara says, Amar Le, Kofar Rabbi Gamliel. A certain heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, Elokechem Ganavhu. Your God is a thief, because it says, Vayipol Hashem Elokim Tardima Adam Ayishan. And it says that God caused Adam to fall asleep, and he took one of his ribs. So he says clearly he's a thief. I mean, this obviously has to be some sort of jest, but I guess that was his argument. Amrle Barate. So the daughter of this heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, Shavke, the Ana Madarnoi. The daughter of the heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, leave me alone, because I'm going to answer him. I'm going to answer my father. Amrle Tenui Duchus Echad. She said to her father, give me a duchus. A duchus is a judge who can, Rashi says, Shofet Linkom Nikama. Give me a judge to bring out vengeance upon him. Give me a judge who knows how to do vengeance. Amrle Lamalech, why do you want such a judge? So she said, Listin Ba'olenu Alayla, V'natun Menu Kiton Shel Kesef, because the robbers came to us last night and they took from us a jug of silver, a silver jug. V'nichu anu Kiton Shel Zav, and they left us a gold jug in its place. So I need to get a judge who can punish this man. He stole our silver and returned it with gold. So Amarla, so the heretic said to his daughter, we want this thief to come and visit us every single day. So she said, she said, it's so good for Adam. Took a ribbon, gave her a woman. He took a rib and replaced her with a maid to serve him. Said, no, this is what I meant to say. The father said to his daughter, the heretic said to the daughter, why do you have to make Adam go to sleep? You should have taken him from Adam openly. Why did he act like a thief? So she said, bring me a piece of meat. Bring me a piece of raw meat. Aisua, they brought to her. Usfa tute bachasha. She put it under bachasha. She put it under some hot ashes. Tuse bachasha. She put it under hot ashes. That's the way they used to roast the meat. They would put the ashes. Rashi says that that's how they would roast the meat. Tachas haremet, under the coals. Kalina balaz, and that was the day they used to roast it. And because she saw it while it was being roasted, she was disgusted. She saw the sausage was being made. She didn't want any part of it. So that's the same idea. Afikta, she took it out. Amrle echol mehai. She said to him, eat from this. Amrle meisli, it's disgusting. I see how the meat is prepared. I don't want any part of it. He saw the meat before it was properly cooked. So she said to him exactly the same thing. If he would have saw how it happened, he would have been disgusted by the woman and he wouldn't have taken it. So then the Gemara says another story. A heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, Yadana Elohaichu my ka'avid. I know what your God is doing and where he is sitting. So Rashi says, he says, he had no idea, but he said he can't disprove me. I'll come up with some fantastic ideas. He won't be able to disprove me. Isnagid visnach. Rabbi Gamliel became faint, and he sighed. Amarle, my hi. So the Kofar said, "What's going on?" Amarle, ben achad yeshli b'krache ayam. Rabbi Gamliel says, "I have one son overseas." And I have a desire to see him. But I want you to show him to me. So Amar Miyadana. So the Kofar said, how am I supposed to know where he is? Amar Ika Ba'ara Yadat. There's something on earth you don't know. So Ika b'shmaya yadat, you know what's in heaven? You obviously have no idea. Amroi Kofar Rabbi Gamliel, another example of a heretic saying to Rabbi Gamliel, Ksiv Mona Mispar Kochavim. Hashem counts the stars. My Rabusa. What is exceptional about this? What's the chiddush? Ana Matzino Mimre Kochave. I also can count the stars. What's the big deal that it says God counts the stars? So Aisi Chabushi. So Rabbi Gamliel brought some fruits that were called chavushi. Rashi says this is kadonitz balaz. Shadinu ba'arboe v'kamahadaruhu. He threw them in the arboe. Arboe is like a sieve. Rashi says a kribel in French. V'kamahadaruhu, and he was stirring them. Arboe minai. We said, okay, count these fruits that I'm stirring. Arboe ukminu. He said, have them stop moving. He said, the heavens are doing the same thing. The stars are moving the whole time. How are you going to count them? So you can't count the fruits. How are you going to count the stars? Some say that this is what Gamliel said to him. Count the stars. That the heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, the Kofar said to Rabbi Gamliel, he said the following, Manoli Kochavi, meaning say, I know how to count them. He said, well, how many teeth do you have? And how many molars do you have in your mouth? So he says, well, he says, well, Yadat, I don't know. He didn't know. Well, you see, we have a little bit of a different girsa here, basically, because it doesn't say specifically, but he says the Ika Bepum. So he says, so he stuck a sand in his mouth, and he counted them. He said, you don't know how many are in your mouth, so for sure you're not going to know the Ika Brakia Yadat. You're going to know how many stars are in the heavens. You won't be able to do it. So now we come up to the next line. Amroi Kofer Rabbi Gamliel, Misha Bara Harim Lo Bara Ruach. The heretic said to Rabbi Gamliel, the one who created the mountains did not create the winds. How do we know that? Because it says Kihine Yoter Harim Uvare Ruach. It says the one who creates the mountains, fashions the mountains, Ubare Ruach, and creates the wind. One is called a Yotzer, one is called a Bore, and they're two different names. So it's two different people. The heretic, two different gods. The heretic was saying. So Gemara says, you mean, oh, there are two different gods that created man. One says bara, one says vayitzer. Tefach al tefach yesh bo ba'adam. Ushnei nekavim yesh bo. Misha barzeh or barzeh. There's two basically openings in man. There's the ear and the eye. Do you want to say that the one who created the ear did not create the eye? It says, obviously it's not the case. So the heretic says, yeah, there are two different powers. And then all agree that he should die. So it doesn't make sense to say that two different powers created man. There was a magician. Magusha is a magician. He said to Maimar, he says, I know that the upper half of your body belongs to Hormes. Hormes was this demon mentioned we had in Bava Basra. Hormes, the son of Lilith. It says, I know that your upper half of the body belongs to Hormes. And the lower half belongs to Hormes. How does a Hormes allow Hormes? Basically, how does, if you're saying the lower half is a Hormes, so how does a Hormes allow Hormes to pass out the waste through the lower half? So it can't work. The Caesar says to Rabbi Tanchum, let's all become one nation. Let's merge. So Rabbi Tanchum says, Amar Chaye, Anand mihiwan womatzina miave kavasayu, aten mi lisu ba'ava kavasan. She says, great, we're circumcised. We can't be like you, but you can circumcise and become like us. Amalei Maimar Shapir Kamer. So the Caesar said, you're arguing well. Miu called the Zachu and Malko Shadu Baber. Whoever beats the king, we throw him into the lion's den. Shadu Baber, they threw him into the pen of animals. Well, they didn't eat him. So the Sadducee said to Caesar, they're not hungry. So they threw the Caesar and they threw the Sadducee in there and they ate him. I'm only called for rubbing a wheel. Amrisu kol be'asara shchinta sharia. You say that every time there's 10 Jews together, every time there's 10 Jews, Hashem is there. Every time we have a minyan, God comes. We're on a Lamed Tes from an of 39a at the bottom. So 39a towards 2/3 of the way down. They said every time there's 10 Jews, God's presence is there. Kama shlita ike. So if you have many minyanim in the world, how many gods can there be to go around? So Karyo Shmaya, so Rabbi Gamliel called his assistant. Macha beba apatka, he hit him on the neck. Amray Amayal Shimsha bebesa the kofer. Said, why did you allow the son to go into the heretic's house? So Amray, so the kofer said, Shimsha kol yalma naicha. He said, no, the son's not just coming into my house, it's coming into everybody's house. So Umashim Shadachad Min Elef Alfe Ribo Shamashi, the son, which is one of thousands upon thousands of servants of God, the Kame Kucha Barichu that serve God, and Naichel Koyalma could serve the whole world. Shlinta the Kucha Barichu Alachas Kama Makama. The divine presence itself for sure can serve, how much more so? Can be everywhere. So there was a certain heretic who said to Rabbi Avo, Elokechem gachakanhu. Your God is a jokester. He said to Yechezkel, he's told Yechezkel to lie down on your left side. And later God told Yechezkel, you shall lie on your right side. Also, Talmida Amarway, my time dishviyasa. And in the meantime, a certain student came and said, what's the reason that we have this sabbatical year, that we don't work the land in the Shemitah? The Shavuot Travayu. So Rabbi Abo said, I'm going to give you both the same answer at the same time. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ziru Sheish Veshmitu Sheva Kadesh Tedu Sha'aret Shalihu. God told the Jews, plant in the 6th year, sow in the 6th year, and rest on the 7th, so you'll know that the land is mine. Rashi says here the following. Rashi says, and you won't be so arrogant with your land and you'll forget the yoke of God. The Jews did not do that. They sinned and they were exiled. The way of the world is that a king of flesh and blood, if people rebel against him, if he's cruel, he kills all of them. If he's merciful, he kills half of them. If he's filled with mercy, he just punishes the leaders. So too Hashem is punishing Yechezkel in order to take away the punishment from the Jewish people. So there was a certain heretic who said to Rabbi Avo, your God is a Kohen, take from your tshuva. When he buried Moshe, how do you immerse in the mikvah? It can't be a God immersed in water. Who measured the waters of the world with his fist, meaning the whole world couldn't contain him. So they said God immersed himself in fire. And so he said, is that effective to immerse in fire? The main immersion is in fire. The only things that can't go in fire should go in water. It says, the heretic said to Rabbi Akiva, it says, who is like your nation, Israel, one nation on the earth? My Rabusa, what's the big deal? The You're also like all of us, because it says all the nations are like nothing before him. It means to say Bnei Israel is also called all the nations. So why are we also said that we're unique? So Amalei Mitchu Asidu Alon. So Rav Avina said, your prophets testified about us. That does not talk about us. Uvegayim lo yischashev will not be counted amongst the nations. Rabbi Elazar Ramiksiv Tov Hashem Akol. Rabbi Elazar said there are two verses. One verse says Hashem is good for everyone. V'ksiv Tov Hashem Akol Vav, and the other verse says Hashem is good for those who cleave for Him. Mashal Adam Sheyesh Lo Pardes Kishu Mashke Mashke Eskua Kishu Oder Eno Oder Al Tov Shabem. When you have an orchard, when you come to irrigate it, you irrigate everything. But when you come to hoe it, you only hoe the best. Therefore, everybody should testify, and you should take pleasure when the wicked ones die, because it says when the wicked perish, there is joy. The Gemara says, "Vayavo arena b'machana." So since we're talking about joy, the Gemara cites a pasuk. When Achav died, and he was very wicked, it says there was rejoicing in the land. Amar Rav Acha bar Chanina ubavod Rishayim Rina, bavod Achav ben Amri Rina. What does this mean when the wicked perish will rejoice? It talks about when the wicked Achav ben Omri would die, there will be joy. Does God really rejoice in the downfall of the wicked? But the pasuk tells us in Chronicles that the Leviim sang in the temple. They sang they go out before the army and they say Hodu Hashem kilu olam chasto. Why don't they say give praise to Hashem because He is good? God does not rejoice in the downfall of the wicked. What does it mean when it says the angels did not come to each other all night? When the Egyptians were drowning in the sea, it says that the angels wanted to sing praises to God. God said, my handiwork is drowning in the sea, and you're saying songs before me. So God does not rejoice in the downfall of the wicked. So if that's the case, how are we able to rejoice? So God does not rejoice, but we can rejoice. Will cause others to rejoice. It says he'll cause others to rejoice, but he himself does not rejoice. Shmamina. So now we talk about how Achav died. Vazonos rachatzu, and they washed Hazonos. I mean, after Achav was killed, what happened was in that pasuk, it tells us that one scrubbed the chariot at the pool of Samaria, and the dogs lapped his blood, and they washed Hazonos in accordance with the words Hashem has spoken. What does it mean, Hazonos? Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amarek Shtei Chazyonos. Achav's death clarified two visions. Achaz shel Michal v'achaz shel Eliyahu. One of Michael and one of Eliyahu. Michael said about Michael, it's written, Im shov tashuv v'shalom lo diber Hashem bi. If you return in peace, Hashem did not speak to me. Meaning, Michael said, Achav would die. Eliyahu said, "B'makom asher laku aklavim estav navot." In the place where the dogs lapped up the blood of Navos, they're going to lap up your blood. So both prophecies were fulfilled. Amarava zonos mamish. It means prostitutes. Achav ish mitzunan haya. Achav was a coal man. Aslo Izevel shtei tzuros zonos b'markavto. So Izevel made two pictures of prostitutes, kadesh yiro samichamim, so it can get warm. You can see she was trying to excite her husband. The ish mashach bakeshas l'tumo v'yakeh, and the man drew the bow with tumo vayak, and he killed Achav. Rabbi Elazar Amar lefi tumo. He killed without realizing it was Achav. Amar Rav Amar with tamim shtei chazyonos. to fulfill the two prophecies about Achav. Achash Michael v'Achash Eliyahu. One by Michael and one by Eliyahu. Simen Krav v'Zacha be'edom. Achav called Ovadyahu, who was over the household. Ovadyahu was very Ovadyahu feared God greatly. My come across. So what is the pasuk telling us? This pasuk is written about Yaakov. It says. So by Yaakov it says, Yaakov says to Lavan that you were blessed because of me. But Yosef said, Hashem Hashem blessed the Egyptians on account of Yosef. But still, even though Ovadyahu was God-fearing, Achav's house was not blessed. Perhaps you're not a God-fearing man. Ovadyahu was very God-fearing. But Achav's house is not supposed to have a blessing. The praise of Ovadyahu is greater than Avram. Both of them, it said that they feared Hashem very much. Meaning to say, by Avram, it doesn't say Ma'od, but by Ovadyahu, it says Ma'od. Why did Ovadyahu merit prophecy? Because he hid 100 caves, 100 prophets in the cave when Achav was trying to kill them. When Zevel was trying to kill the prophets, he had them 50 in a cave. Why 50 in each cave? And going from Jacob, it says Yaakov divided up his camp into two. So at least if you kill one, the other one will survive. A cave does not hold more than 50. Chazon Ovadyahu Komar Hashem Adonai Elokim Adon. Why did Hashem say that Ovadyahu should give a prophecy about Adam? Amar B'Yitzchak Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu Yavo Ovadyahu Adar Ben Shnei Rishayim V'Olimam Masayim. So let Ovadyahu come, who lives amongst two wicked ones, and he doesn't learn. V'Navei Al Esav HaRasha, and it prophesies about the wicked one Esav. Shadar Ben Shnei Tzadikim V'Olimam Masayim, because he lived amongst two righteous and didn't learn from them. Amar Ephraim Miksha Talmidah Sheramer Mishur Ramer. So Ephraim Miksha said Ovadyahu Ger Adomi Haya. Ovadyahu was actually an Edomite convert. That's why he prophesied about his downfall. So we see from here, Ovadyahu was a convert. From the very forest comes the handle of the axe that will destroy. So King David struck Moab, and he measured them with palm wine, after making them lie on the ground. King David forced his Moabite prisoners to lie on the ground and measured them by the length of the rope. So what does this mean? Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon Yochai Damri Inshi Mine Ubei Abba Lezel Bei Narga. From the forest comes the axe that will destroy it. Since David was from Moab, he knew them best. Ki Asar Avdimi Amar Yarech mitocha masrachas, a thigh rots from its middle. Eikachas b'noah b'chor asher yimoch tachtav. Mesha, the king of Moab, took his firstborn son. And he made him an offering. Once they offered him to God, once they offered him to idolaters. It makes sense according to the one who says that they offered him to heaven. That makes sense. There was great anger. The one who says for idolatry, why was there anger against the Jewish people? If as a result of his offering, why, if it was to an idol, why were the Jewish people punished? Mara says because Rabbi Shulman Levi, Rabbi Shulman Levi, Rami, it says in the pasuk, like the words of the nations that are not around, that are around you, you did not do. Like the words of nations that surround you have done. You have not respected Hashem, but you have done like the worst of them. So basically, when Mesha Melech Moav did this, Hashem was reminded of the actions of the Jews. They departed from him, they returned to the land. That moment, the Jewish people went down to the lowest level. And it says that the girl was very beautiful. This was talking about Avishag. She didn't even reach half the beauty of Sarah. It says until that, but not very much, but not including it. And this is a beautiful daf of Shabbos. On Shabbos, we're going to give ourselves a little bit extra time and go this at a much slower pace and really absorb this beautiful, beautiful daf. We'll stop here and God willing, pick it up on Shabbos.
Thank you.